Welcome back to New York Links. Inside the entertainment report, we have a painter and an educator. We visited artist William T. Williams' studio to chat with him about his work and his passion. They're similar in form.
They're similar in form. The difference is the physical scale and the interior. The image differs.
Yes, yes. I first knew him as a teacher, a professor of art at Brooklyn College, where he taught for over 30 years. He introduced me to charcoal and drawing and trying to find the artist within myself.
I've been in the studio since 1968.
Wow.
Long time. And it's changed somewhat in terms of things moving around, but it's very functional.
Are these works you're working on?
These two are works in progress. The one that's on its right, I've been working on that painting for about 9 months. And the one that's on the left-hand side, this is about 6 months.
They're similar in form.
They're similar in form. The difference is the physical scale and the interior. The image differs.
Yes, yes.
Also, what occurs in the paintings, because I do them over a very long period of time, this image, say the one that's on the far right, that image may change 10 or 15 times, where it's painted, then it's painted out, then it's painted over again and over again and over again. And it's that process of going back to the image, back to the reoccurring image, and really painting it out of memory. You start with it drawn in chalk, and then it gets altered every time you draw it in paint over and over again.
What's the underlying theme? Is it music?
Well, the underlying theme is actually this photograph that's on the wall. It's a photograph of my parents. And it's a photograph probably from 1950, and they're at a nightclub in Harlem. And that the sense of the portraiture is what I wanted, and what I started with is just that heart form that was there. And this form, this center form, has kind of morphed over the years of drawing that. I've been drawing that form for, goodness, it's been a good 18 years.
Yeah. I went to my first art show at the Jamaica Center for Arts and Learning as an assignment for his class. And I've never stopped going to art shows. Many artists, as choosing art as a career, many people don't get support. It seems like you're putting yourself out there to falter. You had support from the beginning?
My parents said, go for it.
Yeah?
They said, if that's what you want to do, go for it. And they never wavered in their support. And I think, one of the things that that's really important in this whole idea about young people who want to become artists is that they have to realize that, one, it's a long-distance activity. And two, you enter this activity of art primarily because it's something that, it's almost like a calling. It's something that you want to do. And that should be the only reason you do it.
Yes, but there's also the need to feed yourself.
You do have to make a living, that's true, and that's another aspect of it. That part comes with time in terms of building an audience, building ways of making a living.
But you've been very successful in your career. You've received numerous awards. You're in many private collections and museum collections.
I've been lucky. I've been lucky.
Or talented.
Well, but here's the thing that I always say about this whole idea of talent. When you go to art school, you may have 300-400 people in the art school with you. All 400 of those people are talented. And what is required is a kind of tenacity about the activity, is that you're going to do this whether you are getting rewarded or not. That's where success comes. Success is being able to get up and go into the studio the next day and to work. That's when I feel successful. Every day that I can do this is success.
I was really surprised to find out that you were instrumental in starting the Artist in Residence program at the Studio Museum. So you've been doing that for a long time, and that, to me, that's monumental. Many people have benefited from that.
Well,
to have started it.
Well, the arts are important. The arts are one of the ways that we know that how do I say it? One of the ways of affirming life is through the arts. And it seems to me that every person that's creative, every person that wants to be an artist or that is an artist, there should be some place, some opportunity for them to perfect their craft.
We're standing here on a bit of whimsy, art on the floor.
Well, this is a floor that's been developed over a 40-year period. It occasionally gets painted gray again, but what has occurred over the texture of the floor, the pebbling of the floor, the dropping of the paint, is something that's very much part of what I do. I mean, you can almost tell what I'm doing by when you come in and you see the floor, the specific activity. Over against the wall there, the paint on the bottom of the floor there is almost 9 inches higher than the rest of the floor.
Oh,
there's a kind of a gradual, because this is the wall I work on, and it just, this whole side of the room has more paint on the floor than the other side. But that's every artist studio is like that. You know, it's kind of a, if they work on the floor and if they are expressionists, the floor tends to have a great deal of paint and a great deal of a residue of activity. Fairly simple. I get mail in the morning and I scribble on the mail. This is literally the drawing for that painting.
Yes, yeah.
And then it goes from that to maybe I'll draw the same thing on a better piece of paper. Sometimes the idea is scribbled on a piece of cardboard. You know, this is just the backing of paper. And what I do, or my son does, and my wife does, is she keeps all of these things and she organizes the ideas that are related. And that's the beginning of the idea. It goes literally from a scribble on something, and then once I see a kind of continuous thing, and then they go to this size.
This is interesting for me because I see this being sold for $1,000.
Wow. And then they go to this size, where I make them a little larger and this is basically resume paper. I mean, it's acid-free resume paper, but it doesn't go to art paper at this point. And I just keep drawing them and drawing them. And then the next stage is I start to take those ideas and they are done a little larger. The same idea is then started to be brought up in color. And that's where, you know, we were talking about the floor before. That's where the floor comes about.
Okay.
Because they're made on the floor. And what I do is there's a period where I'm just developing these images, doubling up, tripling them up. I'm trying to figure out two things. I'm trying to figure out the imagery, but I'm also trying to figure out what will color do to it.
Oh, that's how you get to the base color of what you want on the back?
Yep, and that's how I get to that. A lot of these paintings have all of this underneath, and then it's reduced down to that singular color. Now, in the case of the drawings, the drawings retain the color.
I never knew the magnitude of his radiance because he traveled below the radar, egotistically speaking. History is being made every day, and sometimes some of our historical figures are living and moving and working around us quietly, without fanfare. William T. Williams is one such person. Teacher, father, husband, artist.